It was a hot Saturday afternoon when the moving truck pulled into Maple Grove Estates. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, curious about the new resident. Most people were quietly excited. It had been months since the empty colonial on the corner finally sold. But not everyone shared that excitement. Karen, president of the neighborhood watch, which she basically invented to snoop on people, stood on her lawn with her hands on her hips. Her eyes narrowed as a tall black man unloaded boxes from the truck. He moved quickly and confidently, carrying heavy furniture with ease. Within minutes, Karen had her phone out. 911, what's your emergency? The operator asked. Yes, there's a suspicious man breaking into a house on Willow Lane, Karen said, her voice urgent. He's hauling out furniture. I think it's a robbery. The operator dispatched 2 patrol cars immediately. By the time the officers arrived, the man was carrying a leather armchair up the steps. They stepped out, hands cautious but not yet on their weapons. Sir, one officer called, can we speak with you for a moment? The man set the chair down gently and turned. Of course, officer. What's the problem? Karen darted across the street, triumphant. That's him. That's the man. He doesn't belong here. He's stealing. The officers exchanged a look. Ma'am, please let us handle this. Turning back to the man, one officer asked, can we see some ID? Maybe proof you're allowed to be here. The man smiled faintly, pulled out his wallet, and handed over his driver's license along with a thick envelope from his pocket. Name's Jordan Mitchell, he said calmly. Here's my license, and that's the deed to this property. Closed on it Tuesday. The officer flipped through the papers, nodding slowly. They were legitimate. Mortgage documents, the deed transfer, everything in order. Karen's smug grin faltered. Sir, thank you for cooperating, the taller officer said, handing the papers back. Congratulations on your new home. Jordan chuckled. Thank you. Moving's a nightmare, but I'm excited to be here. Karen gasped. What? No, that can't be right. This neighborhood has standards. Are you sure he's not renting from someone? The officer's patience wore thin. Ma'am, this gentleman owns the house. Everything checks out. There's no crime here. Jordan tilted his head. Actually, officer, I do have a complaint. This woman has been standing here harassing me since I pulled in. I'd like a record made, just in case this continues. The officer nodded, pulling out his notepad. Understood. Ma'am, false reports tie up emergency services. Next time you call 911 for a suspicious person when it's just someone moving into their own home, you could face charges. Karen's face turned beet red. Charges? For trying to protect my neighborhood? Jordan raised an eyebrow. Protected from what? New neighbors? Or just me? The silence was heavy. Karen sputtered but had no answer. Word spread quickly around Maple Grove. By evening, half the block had come by to welcome Jordan. He turned out to be a retired Air Force pilot who now worked as an aerospace engineer. He had an easy laugh, a firm handshake, and stories that made even the most standoffish neighbor lean in to listen. When someone asked if the 911 call bothered him, he shrugged. I've dealt with worse. I just hope eventually folks around here will judge me by the content of my character, or at least by how good my barbecue is. That earned a round of chuckles. Karen, meanwhile, kept her curtains drawn. She'd been warned officially by the police, and the neighborhood group chat buzzed with thinly veiled criticism. For once, no one was on her side. The next week, Jordan invited everyone over for burgers and ribs in his backyard. Nearly the whole street showed up. The smell of barbecue drifted down Willow Lane, and kids ran laughing across the grass. Karen stayed inside, alone. And as the evening wound down, one of the officers who had responded that day swung by off-duty, a friend of Jordan's from his service days. He clapped Jordan on the back, and the two shared a laugh. Seeing that, the neighbors realized the truth. Karen had tried to humiliate the new guy, but in the end, she'd only humiliated herself.